Merciful heavens. There's a boy building a castle.
A boy building a sandcastle in a new film called The Sandcastle. We have with us the producer-director of The Sandcastle, a man whose last previous film was the Academy Award-winning Albert Schweitzer. Here is Mr. Jerome Hill.
As a matter of fact, it's more than 10 years ago. I just finished a film on Grandma Moses, and I was planning a series of pictures on great living people.
Jerome Hill was a very wealthy, privileged man who decided to devote his life to the arts. He was a multidisciplined artist and excelled in film. He was a documentary filmmaker, but he later became an experimental filmmaker. This is a man who gave a lot of his own personal wealth to people he knew who he thought were great artists.
The Jerome Foundation began in 1964 in a very small way. Jerome Hill was the grandson of James J. Hill, was born in 1905 in St. Paul, and died in November of 1972 in New York City. Jerome Hill's generosity in setting up the Jerome Foundation was to create a structure for his own grant making. He created the foundation with a broad charitable purpose because he wanted directors after his death to be able to focus the foundation on important needs of their time. The Camargo Foundation in Cassis, France, was set up to benefit scholars and artists who wanted to come to France, experience the culture, and would bring that knowledge back to the United States. Jerome, within his own philanthropy, gave a great deal to emerging artists. The Jerome Foundation seeks to contribute to a dynamic and vibrant culture by seeding the creation of new works in Minnesota and New York City.
Jerome is unique in that we only fund the arts. We support the disciplines of dance, theater, music, literature, visual arts, and film, video, and digital production. We receive anywhere from 1,500 to 1,800 applications each year. We're currently estimating that in our individual granting programs, we support 1 out of 7 applications. Subject matter is not of great concern to us. It's mostly the conviction and the passion that the artist has for the story she or he wants to tell.
The story is about a Hmong man, terminally ill, and decides to go on a journey to visit his father's grave back in Laos. And so in essence, it's his own personal journey going back to pay tribute and respect to his father, whom he never really got to be with.
The Jerome is great for nurturing the development of artists and, the project wherever it may lead to. Because when we first originally applied for the Jerome grant, we weren't going to go overseas. We were going to do it here in Minnesota. But when we won the Jerome, we developed the film more and decided that it'll be more effective for the Hmong community and us as artists if we took the story further.
We have an incredibly strong community of dramatic filmmakers here in Minnesota, one of whom is a young filmmaker by the name of Brennan Vance, who did a short film called Alma that actually blew me away and blew away the panel who reviewed the film because he applied for a Jerome grant to do a feature-length version of the same story.
So this has been just a great 2 months, I've been thrown out of my practice. I have significant dementia. I have significant, I crashed my car. I get arrested by the police.
I'm really trying to make films that relate to more of an art audience. The fact that there are foundations like Jerome that are willing to support, encourage, for projects, that are taking risks, is a game changer, and it just means the world to filmmakers who otherwise wouldn't make projects simply because they're not commercially viable.
Over the 50-year history of the foundation, we've provided close to $10 million to filmmakers in Minnesota and New York City. That's a substantial amount of money, and it's made a big difference in these artists being able to realize their work. I guarantee you that whoever we decide to support, that there's something very unique and original and compelling about what they do.
Thank you, Bruce Lee, for devastating my childhood like a cinder block for all
The foundation's focus in literature has been primarily about supporting emerging writers.
And independent presses that are respected throughout the country, and I would even say the world.
Give me a place to stand and a lever long enough, and I will move the world. You ever hear that?
We've been funding Jerome Fellows through the Playwright Center for 39 years. The first grant was $1,800, and it supported 6 emerging playwrights. August Wilson was one of the early Jerome-supported playwrights.
There was a snowstorm in Jackson when you and I met at a club called St. Sebastian's, but the sign said something different. I remember thinking that I didn't have a shot at Mississippi. Television told us which roads they were closing. There goes a rap show.
The Jerome Foundation has provided support to a broad range of sound makers. One of Jerome Foundation's longest relationships in music has been with the American Composers Forum. Commissioning composers is a sweet spot for Jerome. Emerging choreographers create new work on an irregular basis. So Jerome Foundation's support enables rehearsal, it enables choreographers to hire collaborators. We've been amazed by the range of work that's resulted, ambitious pieces, some that succeed and some that fail. I do want to say that Jerome Foundation has a great appetite for failure, particularly if the failures are brilliant, ambitious, and bold. The Jerome support in the visual arts is broad. Will range anywhere from a printmaking residency at High Point Center for Printmaking. It can be an installation at the Soap Factory, to public work in an environment like Franconia Sculpture Park in Schaefer, Minnesota. The foundation has been funding Franconia Sculpture Park for nearly 20 years so that it can allow artists in residencies to create large-scale public sculpture, often larger than anything that they've done before.
There's over 100 sculptures installed here. It's an emerging artist fellowship, so some of them are fairly early in their careers, and they pull off a new and ambitious project, and this opens up new doors for future opportunities. Franconia wouldn't exist on the scale that it exists today without the Jerome Foundation.
We're celebrating the 50-year anniversary now, I think in memory of Jerome's history and his commitment to artists.
And society is always shifting and changing, and I think that is where our artists come from. And I think that's why their ideas tend to be different from generation to generation.
I think we also honor his legacy by asking ourselves, what does the arts community need in order to make sure that that legacy is pertinent and fresh?
Terrarium is actually like a small window greenhouse. When we first moved in the house, I tried some plants out in it, and they just fried. And I just thought, well, what am I going to do with the space? And that's when I started filling it with clear glass shapes. The whole sense of space in there changes. Interior versus exterior became like perceptually confusing, and I thought that was really interesting. And so that's what actually motivated me to start working with it as a subject for my art. It's become a kind of an endless source of inspiration. All of my work stems from observation of the world around me. I like the term representational abstraction because there's a contradiction in those two terms. Even though it has a sort of general or non-specific quality to the forms, fundamentally, I want to make those connections to, if not the mundane aspects of everyday life. But I also want it to have the ability to sort of transport you out of that mundane moment. Probably about 10 or 12 years ago, I stopped painting, and I was working exclusively on large-scale drawings. The shred drawings that I was working on for years really came about through me walking through the hallway at my place where I worked and seeing these trash bags full of shredded paper from the offices. So I took home a couple trash bags full, and I took some photographs, and I was able to blow them up, and I thought, wow, this is a great tool, to use. And so really that was the beginning of me ever using a camera as a part of my process. After drawing for about 10 or 15 years, I gradually started working with color again and started painting again. I'm not sure what happened there, where it just started to click in a little bit more as I experimented and abandoned traditional methods and materials such as a canvas. So I started every piece with some inclination of where I want to take it, and I started using stencils as a way to kind of quickly create a visual dynamic in the painting that I could manipulate and play around and move around easily. I almost think that every layer I put on is something that I'm going to disrupt in the next move I make. The forms of the stencils came from the shapes that I was observing within the glass. Sometimes they're not even a part of the finished work. Sometimes they're just under a thin layer and you can barely see that they're there. Other times it's just part of the overall textural vocabulary of the work. I love mixing paint. Sometimes I can spend just an hour setting up my palette. It's about kind of tuning my eye. Color is really utilitarian in the sense that I'm thinking about what it does to the kinds of spaces I'm creating in the work. So how it pushes the eye back or creates the illusion of things pulling forward. I actually started painting from the glass upstairs, and my first inclination was to observe it like a still life and paint it, and I did a couple paintings based on that, and I realized quickly I didn't want to be so literal. I was much more interested in the overall kind of phenomena that was happening in that space, playing with the difference between illusion and transparency, or playing with mass and weight. I think as the work developed and as forms began to take on kind of harder edges, I was interested in that relationship between the specificity of the form, but yet the ambiguity of its connotations. Ultimately, you know, I want my work to connect to an everyday experience of living. And so that whole idea that when you walk out onto the sidewalk or you're in a particular space, you come to some realization about where you stand in relationship to something that you're seeing. You know, in this most basic way of being sort of aware of where your body is in space. I'm really interested in my work being able to engage that idea.
I remember the first time I set foot on a stage and feeling so alive. You know, the lights hitting my face and that little thrill in my heart. And I have to be honest and say, I still get that today on Broadway.
Today. She is joining us as the spokesperson for Hennepin Theater Trust Spotlight program.
Laura Osnes is my role model for not only life, but also theater. She's been in Anything Goes, Bonnie and Clyde, Cinderella on Broadway.
We get to sing for her and ask her a few questions.
I'm so nervous to sing for a big Broadway star.
One of Hennepin Theater Trust's educational initiatives is the Spotlight musical theater program. We have been around for 10 years. Spotlight seeks to serve statewide Minnesota high schools and their musical theater programs and communities.
It's always so fun to come back to Minnesota. I'm sorry that it's raining today, but hey, it's sunny in here, huh? I participated in the Spotlight musical theater program when I was in 9th grade at my high school, at Egan High School. I remember it being really captivating. We were getting to perform at the State Theater, and I felt so professional getting to perform on the stage and working with the people we were working with. There is something about doing high school musical theater that is so special. It's about these young people at such a pivotal time in their life where I feel like if you don't fit in anywhere else, you fit in the theater world.
If any of you are singing today, just know that this is not like an audition. Don't be nervous about this. This is not like singing for me or trying to impress me. I feel like we're all here to just like learn today and grow from each other.
The Spotlight Musical Theater program offers a variety of different things to each school. They get workshops, they get a formal evaluation process, and from that we designate the honors, and those individuals and schools that are recognized get the opportunity to come at the end of the year and perform at the Spotlight Showcase.
I need the air is French, that chair is French, this nice sincere Sancerre is French. Someone beside me to have and to hold, a real life Hercules harmonizer.
When I participated in the Spotlight Musical Theater program, I believe there were 12 schools involved, and it was one of the first years that it was happening. And this year there are 67 schools across the state of Minnesota.
I think one of the best things that we can offer these students is the opportunity to work hands-on with professionals.
But like when I turn around, like convince me. A life that's gotta be more, you know what I mean? There's power in wanting it so bad that you can't just sing there and be cute. Let's see the determination. Let's see like this girl that we haven't seen. Make sure you, whatever you do, you fill out, you know, to the end of the music that you are like committed in the final note.
In the actual music it goes, with me, and it goes back up to there, but like I lost my breath and I was like, no.
That's fine, that's fine.
I'm thrilled to get to come back to my home city and get to kind of help encourage and inspire the up-and-coming generation of musical theater kids.
Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you.
2, 3, and...
The largest piece of the program is our Spotlight Showcase, and those individuals and schools that are recognized get the opportunity to come at the end of the year and perform on the Orpheum stage.
Tonight we are on our third Spotlight rehearsal night, so we did some outstanding number work, which was really fun to meet kids from different schools.
Each group gets one day to learn the music, learn the choreography, and put it on its feet. We get 1 day of review, and then we're in tech. So I guess it's early in the sense that it's our first day, but we get 1 day. 2, 3, and 1. 1. What's amazing about this group is that, one, they have relationships within their each individual school, but then they come together for an event like this, and 60 kids have this incredible experience where every one of them is a star.
Come on! Break! Time out! Time out! We are going to go into the audience, and it's Dance Party USA till the end. I think this is the 4th number they've learned this week. I have about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to stage the entire number. So putting this together in the amount of time we have is absolutely crazy. You are actors and actresses, singers and dancers. You are the best? Well, let me be the judge of that after this performance.
This rehearsal right now, it's going to be all the kids who are awarded an outstanding performance by the Spotlight program.
Yeah, you're actually just kind of here. Yeah, because if you get here, your arm's going to get caught.
Okay.
You just want to be like right there. Okay, boom. Yeah, love it, great. Yes, dig it. Oh, I love that, I love that.
The Triple Threat Award is the one competitive piece of Spotlight, which is an otherwise non-competitive program. And what we're looking for is the TLC, is what we call it. So we're looking for talent, leadership, and community.
It was a pleasure. Seriously, I had a ball. Okay, have a good week. Peace out.
It is my great pleasure to welcome you to this year's Spotlight Showcase. I love being a performer, but the beauty of the Spotlight Musical Theater program is that every student who takes part is essential to a musical success, from the lead to the lighting tech.
It's not just about the performers. They get to stand in the spotlight and get the applause at the end of the show, but everyone has to know that the applause is also going towards the stage managers. And then there's the costume people, and then the lighting technicians and the sound technicians. You know, everyone has a different gift, and I feel like theater encompasses so many different strengths in so many different people. As the spokesperson for the Spotlight Musical Theater program, I've been thrilled to get to meet up with the Triple Threat winners, both in New York last year and then hopefully this summer as well for this year's winners.
Congratulations to the 2014 Triple Threat Best Actress from St. Paul Conservatory for Performing Artists, Angela Steele.
The crazy thing about moving to the Twin Cities was that I had no idea what a theater city this is. It's crazy to me that there's this entire community of people that love theater as much as I do. I think that's so cool.
Congratulations to the 2014 Triple Threat Best Actor from Washburn High School, Davis Fraser.
To me, the Triple Threat program is about being a good performer, but it's about a lot more than that. It's about being a leader and about being a peer supporter, and it's about just loving what you do and giving your all at it.
And I owe it all to you. 'Cause
I've had the time of my life. No, I've never felt this way before.
I think it's so important to instill a love and a passion and an appreciation for the arts. I can only imagine how now with so many schools involved across the state, how many young kids are going to be inspired to continue to dance and sing and act their way to Broadway or wherever life may lead them.
It's the
This program is made possible by the state's Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.